Welcome to today's lesson. This is Blessed Elvis. So in today's video, we are going to discuss the vectors. So let's look at a few things that we need to understand before we dive into answering different kinds of questions. So the first thing that we need to understand are the directions. So let's say we have this as our length. So let's say we have vector A and vector B. So whenever the direction points, that's where a vector is going. Okay, so a point can be, or rather a direction can be either at the end or on the middle there. So whenever it is, it does not matter, provided it's showing you where a vector is going. So if we have it like this, this means that a vector is moving from point A going to point B. So writing vector AB is written with an arrow on top indicating the direction. So this is going from vector A to vector B. So if a vector is going according to the direction, or rather according to the direction which is here, then a vector is always positive. If a vector is going opposite to the direction, then the vector is negative. So if we are moving from vector B going to vector A, it's going to be negative because we are moving against the direction or the arrow. If we are moving from vector A going to vector B, it's going to be positive because we are moving according to the arrow. So that's the idea behind this. So we may have different values here. We may have, let's say, vector A. If you have vector A here, then vector AB is going to be positive vector A. If you are moving from vector B going to A, it's going to be negative vector A. So this is the concept behind this. So make sure that you don't forget writing this direction here, which is down there. You just write a dash down there to indicate a vector or a distance which is between the vectors or amongst them. So we may have different kinds of them. So it's very, very important for you to understand. So you always write the negative if you are going against the direction, and you write positive if you are going according to the direction. So let's say you have this vector here, and then here we have, let's say, vector 2a. So what would be the value of vector cd? So vector CD in this case, since we are going according to the direction from vector C to D, it's going to be positive vector 2A. But let's say we are finding vector CD. So if we are finding vector CD, or rather DC, sorry, if we are finding vector DC in this case, it's going to be negative because we are going against the direction. So it's going to be negative vector 2A. So this is basically the idea behind whatever we are going to be doing. So this is very, very important for you to understand. So let's say we have a triangle of this form. Okay, so let's say we have a triangle of this form. So let's say this is vector C, this is vector A, and this is vector B. So let's say this is going according to this direction, this is going according to this direction, and this is going according to this direction. So let's say here we have vector 3b. Okay, then here let's say we have vector 2c, and here we have, let's say we have vector 6a. Now let's say we have been asked to find vector AC. Vector AC. How can we go about vector AC? Well, there are two ways in which we can go about vector AC. One is going directly from vector A going to vector C. The other one is going from vector A going to vector B, then from vector B going to vector C. Both ways are going to lead us to the destination from vector A to vector C. So the first way we have said is going from directly from vector A to C. So in this case, from vector A to C, we have the value which is vector 6a. So in this case, as we can see, the direction or the arrow is going downward, but we are moving from vector A going to C in this direction. So since we are moving opposite to the direction, it's going to be negative vector 6a. So this is the answer. The other way we can move about, as said earlier, is moving from vector A going to vector B, then from vector B going to vector C. So in this case then, we are going to present vector AC as moving from vector A, okay, then going to also from vector B going to vector C. So in this case, what is our vector AB? So our vector AB is vector 2C. So vector 2C is positive because we are going according to the direction. We are moving from vector A to vector B, and of course the arrow here, the direction, is going according to our direction or according to our vector. So it's going to be positive vector 2C. So even if you don't get positive here, it doesn't matter because any value of the number or variable without a sign is positive. Then from vector B going to vector C is what? Is vector 3B. So is it going to be positive or negative? So since we are moving according to the direction, it's going to be positive because we are going this direction from vector A to B, or rather from vector B to C. So it's going to be positive also. So positive vector 3B. So this is the value. Okay, so this is the basically the idea behind whatever we have. So you mostly move in two directions. You either go direct or you move in two directions from vector this to vector this, then from vector this to the final destination, that is vector C. So I have said this because you may have a parallelogram which requires a lot of directions. So the one thing that should come into the mind is that you only move on 2 points. So from this point to this point, and also from this point to this point, that's all. So no matter how many you may have, you only move about this direction. So now let's go and apply the concept using the parallelogram. Let's say you have this. Well, if you have this, let's say this is vector A and this is vector B, and then you have this is vector C and this is vector D. So in this case, let's say here we have, positive M as our vector, and here we have 2n. So make sure you don't forget that. How can we go about if we want to find vector, let's say vector AT? Well, to find vector AC, we have two ways. We can either move from vector A going to B, then from vector B going to D, or we can move from vector A to C, then from C to D. Now, one thing we should take note is that the value we have here is the same as the value here. So even here, it's going to be the same. So the direction is upward, so it's vector M also. Even vector AB is the same as vector CD. So here we are going to have vector 2n as well. Okay, so in this case then, our vector AD, okay, is going to be from A to B or B to D, or from AC then C, D. However, if we had, so this is the direction, by the way. We are moving from vector A to D. So if we had a specific value here, we could have just written direct. Let's say if we had 2A. In this case, we know that vector from A to D is 2A, so there is no need for you to go about from A to B and then B to D. In this case, then you should just write directly vector 2A. So since we do not have the specific value on the middle here, moving from vector A to D, we are just going to go about a long cut way. So this is a shortcut, by the way. So if we go from A to B and B to D, it's just a long cut, but it's just leading to the same destination. So in this case, then we are going to have vector AB. Okay, if you want, you can use the other direction, then from vector B to D also. Now, what is our vector AB? So vector AB is 2n here, so it's positive because we are moving according, by the way, sorry, I didn't indicate the direction. It's going to be this. So we are moving according to the direction, so it's going to be positive vector 2n. Then added to vector BD is going against the direction. We are going the opposite way, so it's going to be negative. Since the arrow is going upward and we are going downward, so it's going to be negative of this vector. So it's going to be negative vector M. Now, vector positive, rather, multiplied by negative, it's negative. So vector N, 2n rather, minus vector M is our answer for this type of problem. So this is basically the idea behind. Now let's try to use another way, another method, if it's gonna work, if it's gonna give the same answer. So in this case, let's move from vector A to C. So vector A to C, and then from vector C we go to D. So in this case then, our vector AC is negative because we are moving from A to C and the arrow is going upward, but we are moving from upward going down, so it's going to be negative vector M. Then added to vector CD is 2n. Now however, if you look at the direction up there, it's going to the right, so even here it's going to be moving to the right, so we are going to have positive since we are going according to the arrow or the direction, so it's going to be positive 2n vector. So in this case, if we rearrange this, we begin with the positive one, we're going to have vector 2n and then negative vector m. So this is the answer. Now if you have observed, this is the same answer with what we had at first. We had used this direction, but we still have the same answer. So you just use one method. You go by this way or you go by this way, whichever is simple for you or is easier for you to use. So this is basically behind the vectors. So let's look at one last example. So let's say you have this vector here, rather that's not proper. So let's say you have this vector here, and then okay, let's say we also have this arrow here. Okay, not arrow, let me just write that. Okay, so we have A, B, and then we have M, and then N here. So let's say this is P. Okay, now let's say we have the values, let's say 3B here, and then we have 2A here. Okay, so this, let's say this is going according to this direction, or rather, sorry for the disturbance. Yeah. So let's say you have, this is the direction here. Now if they say find vector AN, I'm sure you know that we are going to go about this one according to what we had in the first place. So in this case then, we are going to have what? We are going to have AB then BN, or AM then MN. Now my main concern is where you have vector P here. So if you have vector P, and let's say they have said vector P is the midpoint of BN. So if you have vector P being the midpoint of BN, how can we go about, let's say you were asked to find vector, let's say BP. How can we find this? So we have been told that P is the midpoint of BN. So midpoint means it is halfway, and half is 1/2. So this case, putting into writing what they have said, it means that BP or P here is half of what? Of BN. It's on the middle, that's why it's half. So sorry for that. So it's on the midway, that's why it's half of BN. So in other language, they are saying P is half of BN. So if you have been asked to find BP, then you just have to find the half of BN of the whole thing here. That's the idea behind this. So in this case, we are going to have what? We're going to have half of, what is vector BN? So vector BN is the same as vector AM. So vector AM is what? Is vector 2A. So in this case, we are going to multiply with the negative of vector 2A, because according to the direction it's going upward, but we are going downward since we are saying BN, so we are going downward, and the direction, the original direction here, it's going upward, so it's going to be negative vector 2A. So if we multiply this, positive 2 and positive 2 will cancel, and then we are going to remain with, okay, let me just write here for the sake of space, we are going to remain with negative, because positive 1 multiplied by negative of A, it's going to be negative of A. So this is the answer for this type of a vector. It's halfway of Bn, and half of 2, it's 1. That's why we have vector negative of A. So this is the answer for this kind of problem. Let's say we also have been asked to find vector. Okay, let me just rewrite. So here we have this vector M that was here. Let's say we have been asked to find vector A. Let's say vector AP. How can we go about vector AP? So from vector A going to P, it's gonna be what? Vector AB. Then from vector AB we go to BP. So in this case then, what are we going to have? So we have vector AB. Vector AB is what? Vector 3B. Okay? And then added to vector BP, we have already found that it's half of vector BN. And half of vector BN, as we are from answering, gave us what? Negative vector of A. So in this case then, we are going to multiply the signs. Positive multiplied by negative, it's negative. So we have vector 3B, and then positive and negative, it's negative vector A. So this is the answer for this kind of problem. So this is all for this video. Thanks once again guys for staying this far. Please like, subscribe, share and turn on the notification button so that you are updated whenever I upload a new video. Stay blessed.